In this bite-size agility video, what we're going to be doing is looking at the pros and the cons of training running contact. So these days in agility, running contacts are becoming increasingly more popular, and a lot more people are kind of taking the plunge into training running contacts. So hopefully with this short video, we'll be able to give you a lot more information on the training process and the good points, the bad points, and then you can make a more sort of informed decision about whether it's actually right for you and right for your dog as well. Okay, so we'll start over this side on the cons list. Number one on the cons list is it's a very lengthy and complex training process. It's not the type of thing that you're just going to train in a few weeks, okay? It really is kind of months and months of hard work in order to get the right result and a long-lasting result as well. Okay, so a lot of people ask me how long it takes to train a running dog walk, and there is no answer to that. It all depends on your dog. It depends on how good a dog trainer you are. How able you are to be able to see criteria and be quite strict with your marking in order to create fast understanding with your dog. Your dog really needs to understand the criteria in order for this to work. So it does take a lot of foundation and a lot of kind of planning and preparation through multiple stages in order to create the correct behaviour in the end. So it is a lengthy training process, and again, you need to make sure that you actually have the time to put into it in order to get the results that you want as well. Okay, so number two, the need for expert advice. I would say if you're not experienced in training running contacts, or you're not 100% sure about your criteria or what to reward, what not to reward, or what to do when your dog makes a mistake, so the troubleshooting side of things, I would say the need for expert advice is really, really important to help you through the process. So having somebody knowledgeable that you know that can actually help you and guide you through the process is a must. It's not something that you should just dive into in the dark without actually knowing about what you're doing. Number three, what I call sort of environmental training. So what I mean by that is the ability to be able to train in different environments, in different maybe training venues, on different types of equipment. So we've got lots of different manufacturers of dog walks in Britain at the moment. And each dog walk tends to behave slightly differently. Some of them are quite stiff and robust, others are quite flexible and bouncy, and it's really important, I think it's really important that we get our dogs used to training on all these different types of equipment that they're going to meet at competition. As I said, they do behave slightly differently with the dog running on them at full speed, and we do find some dogs don't particularly like maybe the more bouncy ones, so we need to make sure that we get them used to training on all these different types of equipment throughout the training process as to kind of generalize the behavior with them. Okay, number four, now retrains. This is another question I get asked a lot, is whether I should retrain my dog from a stop contact to a running dog walk, okay? And generally my answer to that is if it's not broken, don't fix it. So if your dog has had a stop contact for a good few years, then it's very difficult to then train them a run, because the stop contact behaviour and the running contact behaviour for me are kind of total polar opposites. You're going to have to spend a lot of time trying to retrain the muscle memory that your dog has built up over the years for that stop. So when the dog comes in for a stop dog walk, then it has to decelerate, it's weight shifting onto its rear end, it's engaging its back legs to prepare for the stop, and all these things are the things that we never reward the dog for doing on our running contact. So breaking years and years of muscle memory can be quite difficult. Also, what you've got to take into consideration is if you're going to retrain from a stop, is that you cannot go out and compete your dog until you've actually completed the training process. And that's another thing a lot of people struggle with, is they want to get out there competing with their dog, whereas once you start this training process of retraining your run, you can't go out there and compete until you're finished that process, until your dog's really confident with the behaviour on the dog walk. Okay, so that's another factor to take into consideration before you decide to retrain your dog. Okay, and the last one on the cons list is making sure that you've actually got regular access to equipment. So once you get through the foundation stages of your running dog walk training, you're probably going to be looking at maybe 2 or 3 sessions a week on equipment. Okay, so if you've not got regular access to a full length dog walk with a good space area to train in, then again progress is going to be pretty slow. Again, like I was saying at the start, you need to put in a lot of time to it, so regular access to equipment is another factor that you really need to take into consideration before you start deciding to train a running dog walk. Okay, so that's me covered kind of all my main sort of cons list here. So what I'm going to do is move over onto the other side and look at the pros, or look at the benefits of running contacts. So the first one, the sort of most obvious one, is running contacts are faster than stop contacts. If the dog doesn't have to stop, then it's obviously going to be faster. And if you're faster, you'll put in better course times and you're going to be more competitive. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot win with a stop contact. You know, there's still many people out there winning at top level with stop contacts. However, there's no doubt that a running contact will be faster. Now, the second one here, more flow. Now, what I mean by that is with a stop contact, you've got that sort of stop-start thing going on at the end of your contacts, whereas with runs, you've got more flow. So for me, I find it easier to run on a running dog walk because you've got that flow, you've got that momentum, and you can just keep that going throughout the course without that sort of stop-start thing going on. So for me, that actually makes things a little bit easier. There's more flow in the movement and in the run. Number 3 on my pros list is physically it's less demanding on the dog. So with continuous fast stop contacts, especially on a fast stop A-frame, when you've got the dog slamming into the ground, there's a lot of pressure going through the front end and the shoulders. So physically with a run, you're not getting that. So it's less demanding on the dog's body, you're decreasing the dog's chance of injury. So I think that for me is a big plus point to the running contacts. Number 4 on the pros list, you can be more consistent with your criteria. Okay, so if you think about if you've got a stop dog walk and you're running in a qualifier or a champ final, for example, are you going to maintain your stop criteria when you're really pushing for that win? Not many people do. So what you end up doing is breaking criteria, and every time you break criteria, you're introducing a sort of grey area into the dog's understanding. Okay, whereas with a run, you can really push for the win on every single run you do, and you can maintain criteria every single time. Okay, so again, you're reinforcing that criteria in every single run. So for me, it's easier to maintain your consistency with your criteria with a running contact. Now, number 5, this is a really important one for me as well. So with your running contact, it forces you into improving your skills in all other areas of agility. So when your dog comes off a full speed running dog walk, the chances of you being there every single time to help your dog with the next piece of equipment, it's not going to happen. So it forces you into improving your skills on all your different obstacles. So all your jump skills, your weave skills, your tunnel skills, all of them have to be super independent so your dog can do them without any help after a full speed running contact. Okay, so this improves your agility overall as well. And the last and probably the most important point for me is the fun, the excitement, the joy in a full speed running contact, running dog walk especially. If we look at this quote from Anne Lenz, this really sums it up for me. So that quote there from Anne Lenz really hits the nail on the head. The fun, the excitement and the joy, that far outweighs any of the cons on this list for me. That is what makes running contacts so special. Okay, so hopefully with all these pros and cons and all that information we've given you in this video, if you are thinking and taking the plunge into training running contacts, hopefully that gives you a little bit more information and allows you to make a more sort of informed decision about whether you think running contacts are right for you and right for your dog.